influencer. And we got the best person for it in the scene right now. He's a Blink-182 enthusiast, and since Tuesday also officially Slush Carl's pizza manager. He is bigger than the awful brand he's writing for, and therefore elevates the people around him. Pay close attention in the next hour to learn more about the social media manager, about the social media game, a great person, and I'm honored to say, my friend. Give a warm welcome to Chris Vargas. I love you.
Ollie, I love you too. Thank you for that. Hi, my name is Chris. If you know me on social media, you may know me by Fb.Christopher. I like to keep it simple, didn't want to go with a typical fingerboard name with some variation of fingers in it, misspelled, all weird, right? But thank you for being here at FingerboardCON 1. Thank you for Sixgate, thank you for Slush Cult, Black River for having me. Oh man, this is gonna be a learning experience for all of us, because this is FingerboardCON 1. So if you think you're nervous, which you're probably not, I am. So thank you for being here. I'm just putting that out there. All right, how to be a fingerboard influencer. Just I take no responsibility for that name of the panel, but I guess that's what we're here to talk about. It's important to note that I'm super new to the community, right? Maybe 2-3 years in. I have so much respect for the people that have been fingerboarding for years and years and years. You know, I don't sit up here in front of you to act like I am the first and only fingerboard influencer by any means. It may seem on the surface for me and other influencers like we have it all figured out. And honestly, the truth is social media is so hard. It really is so hard. And so I can sit up here and tell you what's worked for me and what hasn't worked. And that's where we're gonna start it. So with social media, I think it's fair to say that it's tough. It's tough, but it's necessary. Because as cheesy as it sounds, everything I do on social media is for the community. And I know that sounds cheesy, and I didn't necessarily want to say that because when I would say it in my head, it's like, yeah, that's no. But truthfully, that's what it comes back to. It's always what it comes back to. And you'll hear me say it a few times tonight. It comes back to the community. It comes back to growing the community. I don't expect to do this forever. I realize that right now it's like my hobby, my passion. But at the same time, I recognize so many new faces in the room. And just the past couple months, couple years, there's so many more people fingerboarding. And it's an incredible feeling. And it's good for all of us. It grows the community. It's good for these brands. A lot of these brands and board companies are small companies, right? So we're not like buying fingerboards on Amazon, shout out Amazon, but we're buying them from dudes who are literally using this money to like make their car note, pay their rent, and we're helping these brands that are starting out, and it's just an incredible thing. It's all about community. So having said that, let's dive into the social influence of things. So me, myself, I will tell you that the first thing to realize about being a social media influencer in any genre is that you have to have a certain level of toughness about you, mental toughness. Physical toughness, questionable, optional. Because I'm not that tough. But mental toughness, it's tough, honestly. And I don't want to be the social influencer up here like, I have a hard job, because that's really not what it is, but it honestly is a numbers game. It's a mental game. Honestly, how many times have you posted a video or a picture and you're like, this is the one. This is the million views. I can't tell you how many times I sat there in my garage, I film a video, it takes me an hour to film, an hour to edit, and I'm like, this is it. This is a million views. Post, bam. Next day, 90 likes, 2 comments. One of them is like me replying to somebody. And it's tough, and it kills your ego so quick. When it comes down to it, social media influencing and content creating in general can literally crush your momentum or your mental momentum or your mental toughness with one post. You know, I don't want to be preachy, but it's like you gotta be committed to it. You know, you gotta want to really do it. It's easy to say like, I want to be sponsored, or I want to be an influencer, because there's so much stuff that people see on the outside. It's like, oh, they get free stuff. They're always posting this. And there's definitely pros to this, right? There's definitely perks. But it's the tough side that you don't see. Like it's the going out, right? I mean, have you all seen any of my Dollar Tree videos? Yeah, it's like an hour of shopping, an hour of coming home and sitting there like, what the fuck am I gonna do with these Jenga blocks? You know, but it's fun. You know, it's fun. So it's necessary because it goes back to the community, right? Because my thing is, I feel like since I started fingerboarding 3 years ago, the fingerboard community has exploded. It's just exploded. And it's thanks to brands like Black River, who've been doing this for 24 years, almost 25 years. It's thanks to brands like Slush Coal, who literally have created a space at the Mini Mart, which I hope to see you guys there tomorrow. But they've created a space where you can go every single weekend and fingerboard with your friends totally free. And again, I said it earlier, the best thing you can do for the community is show up. That's it. It's free. You just show up. And to tie that back into social media content, if you see someone making fingerboard content, arguably good or bad, just show up for them. That's how we push the community. If you don't want to be social media influencers, which is great, which is fine. I mean, arguably we all are, right? When we post and edit, technically, we're all a bunch of influencers in here, right? But seriously, the thing you can do to help us out is show up. Like the video, share the video, post a comment. If you like a social media influencer, and you're not gonna like all of them, some are gonna be super cringy. I've once been called the Blippy of fingerboarding, and I can appreciate that, right?
Christopher.
Fb.Christopher. I shout out whoever said that. But no, I take pride in that because honestly, a lot of my content, especially the short form content, I really feel like it's geared to a younger audience because that's who's coming in, right? That's who's gonna just start. That's who's gonna go to Target and buy a tech deck, show up to the mini mart, use it for a couple days, maybe a couple weeks, realize they absolutely love fingerboarding, and then hopefully buy a ground board, and then hopefully update it watching one of my videos, and then buy an awful board. You know what I mean? And that's what keeps the community growing. That's what it's about. Specifically about social media influencing, there's a lot of stigmas behind it. There's a lot of like, what I call like cool guy energy. A lot of people are scared to kind of put themselves out there. And I think that holds a lot of people back, right? Because one of the simplest ways, social media wise, that you can almost guarantee your video to do a little better is by using a trending sound. Now, if you've never heard of what a trending sound is, if you ever go to TikTok and you go to post your video, you can literally click on trending sounds. And if you go watch my edits on TikToks, I have edits to Doja Cat. You know what I mean? And shout out Doja Cat, but I don't like Doja Cat like that. But it just happens, you know what I mean? I have an edit right now to a Taylor Swift song. Not because, well, shout out Taylor Swift, to be honest with you. But because it's a trending sound. And if you're sitting here at this panel and you're listening to me, chances are, maybe you want to go viral. Maybe you want to be a social fingerboarding influencer guy or girl or person. And that's step one, little things like that. But surprisingly, a lot of people won't use those sounds because they're like, oh, what is Taylor Swift song? They're gonna be cringy, right? I've once seen a comment, someone taking a dig at me because I hashtagged all my videos with tech deck, right? If you go search, click on any picture I post, any video I post, tech deck. You know why? Because my YouTube analytics told me that 89% of people that found my videos last month searched the word tech deck. Now those hashtags, they mean something, right? I'm a strong believer in you don't want to use generalized hashtags. And here we go with the social media stuff. So sorry if I'm boring you a little bit. But if your goal is to be a social media influencer and post videos and want them to move, I can tell you the hashtags are going to be your best friend. I'll tell you like this, you don't want to post more than 5, right? Because then it just seems spammy. And you don't want to post something like hashtag for you page. That's going to send your video to everybody. And you know what happens when your video for fingerboarding pops up in front of someone who has no idea what fingerboarding is? Swipe past it. in 1 second. That instantly kills your video, kills your watch time. I will tell you, if you post an edit and DM it to like 500 people on Instagram, that is gonna kill your numbers on your edit. And this is assuming that you're posting content to be a fingerboard influencer, right? Because if you're just like your everyday poster, this may mean nothing to you. You're just like, yo, I'm posting to have fun, and that's cool too. But if you're trying to get your videos to go, if you want to put yourself in a position where you can grow your platform, right? To do whatever you want with it. Because there's so many reasons to be a social media influencer person. Some people, it's like financial gain, which I wouldn't know what that's like. I am by no means rich. I'm selling stuff. If anyone wants to hit me up after, I'm signing some boards. But no, for real, it's one of those things where something as simple as hashtags, something as simple as being consistent with your content, going back to just being tough, making even one, like a Dollar Tree video that I make, right? 40 seconds to 50 seconds. Most videos take me about 2 hours from start to finish. And that's not including the time I go to take to shop and go film and stuff like that. That's sitting down, editing all the clips, doing the voiceover, planning what I'm gonna say, which social media sites I'm gonna post on. It's a commitment. And to be totally honest with you, and I don't blame a lot of people, but when you work full time, when you have kids, when you have a girlfriend, a boyfriend, or whatever, it's tough to make time to sit down and say, yo, I'm gonna make a video about my fingerboard toy for 2 hours. It's tough to kind of do that sometimes. But if you're committed, like if that's something you want to do, then anyone can do it. Literally anyone can do it. We live in a time where you can literally pull out your phone, and most of us have like great smartphones, where you can film pretty much anything. I joke with my friends all the time when we're hanging out, and I'm like, content. It's content, because everything's content, everything, right? You can film it. How many times have you been scrolling through TikTok or Instagram and you see a video, it's like, today I went to Target and I'm tech deck hunting. I've done it. Those videos do great. People love tech deck videos. You can literally start with a tech deck video. You don't need much money to start being an influencer. You can go buy a tech deck and just film it, talk about it, unbox it, post an upgrade video. We don't have enough of those. Upgrade your tech deck. Anyone could start fingerboard influencing, and not just fingerboard influencing. You're gonna be an influencer. It doesn't cost much to be an influencer, right? But my point is, you gotta wanna do it though. You really gotta wanna do it. Because I'm telling you, it can get old real quick when you post 10, 20, 30 videos and none of them take off. It hurts. Even me, I think right is step one, post. That's it, post. You gotta get away from worrying about what others are gonna say about you, what others think about you, because the reality of it, there's so many people in this, not just in this community, but more specifically in this community, that maybe sometimes look down on influencers. Because again, it can come off cringy at times. It can come off like you're doing like a hard sale, Like if I post a video and I'm like, hey, I just went out and got a ground board, I just went out and got these wheels. Some people don't want to be sold to on the internet. And if you don't build your brand enough before you start posting stuff like that, you look like you're just trying to sell stuff to people, and nobody wants that, right? Tying it back into the community. I think social influencing, especially with fingerboarding, is one of the best things you can do. Even if you do it on a small level. You don't even have to do, unboxings and stuff like that. Because again, as fingerboarders, if our goal is to grow the community, if our goal is to keep this thing going, we gotta do our part and show up, and not just in person, but show up online. Social media is a beautiful tool, honestly. It's a powerful tool. It could sometimes be weird, real weird, But for the most part, it's good. How many of us from here are we met TC? We met online,
Yep.
And here we are under the same roof,
Yep.
because we both love tiny fingerboards, tiny skateboards, whatever. We're here. So it's important. It's important to use the tools that we're given to grow this community. Because again, that's what this is about. That's what my whole thing is. I've talked about it before. I have no problem thinking about passing the torch to the next generation, because I have so much respect for the people that came before me that are fingerboarding, years ago, that are still fingerboarding today. And it's like, as a student of the hobby, I have so much respect for fingerboarding that I wanted to keep growing and growing and growing. And when, young kids come up to me and they're like, yo, I started fingerboarding because of you. Or even better, when an older person comes up and they're like, yo, my kids found your vlogs, which That's why I bleep out the cuss words. Shout out moms and dads. But when they find my blogs and stuff, it's cool when like the kids start fingerboarding and then the parents start fingerboarding. I can't tell you how many times mom and dads will DM me pictures of them at the Dollar Tree with their kids buying this stuff to do the builds, because it's like multi-generation and it's gonna keep fingerboarding going for years and years. And that's what the goal is, at least for me, right? Because you can have tons of motives with social media influencing or fingerboard influencing, whatever you want to call it. But I think one of the hardest things is getting rid of the stigma of it. Because I've had this conversation with my friends before. I used to struggle with almost like an identity crisis. And I don't want to sound too dramatic, but it's like I used to struggle between being a social media influencer person and a fingerboarder. And I always thought in my mind there were two different things, and I always separated them. And recently, I had a conversation with my consigliere. They know who they are. Shout out you. And they told me, like, you gotta stop. Like, you gotta stop separating them in your mind because it's creating so much conflict. Because honestly, when it comes to social media influencing and fingerboarding, we're in a lot of ways in uncharted territory. Because I'm in no way the first and only fingerboard influencer. There's many before me, many that are gonna come after me, many that are starting up right now. Shout out Jake in the back, love you, bud. But seriously, if you see someone creating great content, like the video, share the video. We gotta keep growing the content, because at the end of the day, that's what's gonna keep the community growing. You know, I struggled with that in my mind so much, and then I kind of realized like it's all the same. Like I'm the same person. I can be both things at one time. And it just took me forever to kind of get rid of that own stigma. And I think that's the biggest hurdle when you do social media influencing, is like, you don't want to come off cringy. You don't want to come off like that guy. You don't want to post something that's gonna make someone kind of roll their eyes and be like, this fucking, you know what I mean? A Doja Cat song. Man, when the Barbie movie came out, I posted an edit to the Barbie song. Oh man, with Ice Spice, dude, I got roasted in the comments. But I'll tell you what, that video did like 20,000 views. Worth it. Worth it. If that's what you're trying to do, worth it. Yeah, shout out Ice Spice. Shout out Ice Spice. And Nicki Minaj. You know, I'm definitely a munchkin. Okay, pause. Let's run it back like 30 seconds. Let's just live in that time before I shout out Ice Spice. But no, I think in you know, in closing, I'll say that I think, just to reiterate, I think social media influencing, especially with fingerboarding, obviously that's why we're here, it's needed. It really is needed, because that's how we grow the community. If your hurdle is that cringy thing, right? Like that was, for me, that was the hardest part, was being able to post a video and knowing that I was gonna get kind of roasted, or people are gonna look at me sideways in the community like, oh, that's that guy, like he posts like Barbie edits and stuff like that. And it was tough to get past that. But you know, you gotta find a way to kill, I don't know how to say it, it sounds kind of gory, but it's like you gotta find a way to like kill the part of you that cringes. You know what I mean? Not the cringy part of you, because that's your personality. Just FYI, I have a personality. I'm not afraid to share that online. If you watch my blog, if you watch my video, that's what makes it authentic. And people want authentic content. If someone's inauthentic, you can tell 2 seconds into their video. And I don't know about you, but you know what I mean? I'm gonna keep it real. So the biggest thing, authenticity. Stay consistent. If you want to do social media, stay consistent. It's hard, but stay consistent. You'll watch your numbers grow up. One of the payoffs is that you get to work with awesome brands, and that's just a perk that comes with it. Because a lot of people don't realize this, but if you build your platform up enough, you essentially make yourself valuable to these brands. And that's another thing. Some people come up to me and they'll say like, well, how do you get sponsored? It's like, well, you want to know a real easy way to get sponsored? Well, I wouldn't say easy, but you know what I mean? Like, you can literally build your platform up so big that you will have companies coming to you saying, hey, you want to wear my shirt? Hey, you want to wear my hat? You want to ride my boards? And that's cool. I know there's tons of people in this room that want to be sponsored, because that's like everyone's like, and that's cool. There's nothing wrong with being sponsored. But I'll tell you, if you want to be a social media influencer, you do it. You gotta do it right, you gotta stay consistent. And I'm telling you, you have fun with it. That's the biggest thing. Have fun. I used to think that there was no wrong way to fingerboard, but then I realized there's one wrong way to fingerboard, and that is to fingerboard and not be having fun. Yeah, I'm ready to do, so, thank you. You know, the whole how to be a social influencer, I don't know if I hope I covered enough to where, you know, you have an idea of what it takes, or at least what you take away from this is go home, and if you want to be a social media influencer, step one, post. Just post. Just keep posting. Just remember that everything is content. If you set up a board tonight that you bought here, hopefully you pick up a board from Slush Cold, or you see Dylan walking around, pick up an awful board, set that up. Set it up and tell you what, film it. And then post it online and tag these brands. And you'll see. You'll grow your platform and it'll be awesome. Thank you guys for coming to Fingerboard CON #1. I love you guys so much. We're going to do a Q&A. So if you guys have questions for moi, I would love to answer them. See me walking around, let me know. Hopefully tomorrow, you catch me at Slush Cold Mini Mart, because it's going to be wild. Come win some trucks. Come be Jaldo and skate. Here's a Q&A. Ollie, this is your cue.